Nebraska on Tap, the source for everything educational and informational about groundwater in agriculture. If you are an ag producer or a citizen of Nebraska, this show is made for you by the Middle Republican Natural Resource District.
Now it's time for our weekly show, hosted by Heather Disming.
Hey everyone, welcome back to this week's edition of Nebraska on Tap. So this week we talked to Chuck Burr, who works at the TAPS program up in North Platte for UNL. So TAPS for them stands for Testing Agricultural Performance. They are doing different programs in Oklahoma, Colorado, Kansas, and here in Nebraska. During this program, they deal with watering, profit input. It brings together industry leaders, educators, outreach people, contestants, producers, and different types of partners. So competitions include sprinkler corn, subsurface drip and irrigated corn, sprinkler and dry land sorghum, winter wheat, and then they have cotton at Oklahoma State University TAPS program. So 6 of these management decisions that are performed by these teams or individuals that they can make are crop insurance, nitrogen, irrigation, the hybrid seed selection, the seeding rate, and the markets. This helps with methods of future farming, but the pesticide, tillage, residue, and harvest are all managed by the center. So Chuck has a lot of things on his plate. Chuck also is the chemigation instructor for Nebraska as well. So he does a lot of things and he sees a lot of data, and I think he loves it because he's been doing it for quite a long time. So I interviewed him a couple weeks ago, so let's get into that and let's talk to Chuck.
Yeah, I'm Chuck Burr. I'm an extension educator focusing on water and cropping systems, and I'm based in the North Platte area in Lincoln County and the surrounding area. Been in North Platte since 2012, so over 10 years now, and really focusing on irrigation management, limited water issues, and also nitrogen management.
Very nice. And where were you at before you got to North Platte?
Yeah, so I spent about 10 years in Clay County, Clayton, Webster County, and then after that, about 12 years in the Phelps-Gosper County area. So been kind of moving west as I've gone through my career, and my interest really is in, limited water. How can you get by with less water, or if you have an allocation or something, what things you can do to help get the most of the limited resource you have. So that's why I've been kind of moving west over my career to get into an area that's, I guess, dealing more and more with that.
That makes 100% sense because some areas are not allocated like we are here in the Middle Republican per se, and doing the TAPS program that you have there is definitely beneficial for that reason that you just mentioned. So that's awesome. And so you talked about harvest is just starting now. So how is that going for you guys?
Harvest is going pretty well. We've got our subsurface drip irrigated TAPS competition. We took that out a couple days ago, and yesterday finished up our sprinkler TAPS competition. We still need to take out our popcorn plots, so hopefully early next week, and then our grain sorghum plots out at Grant. Hopefully middle to end of next week we'll be able to get that out. Looks like once the wind dies down that the sun should come out again and should have some good harvest weather coming up the next week or so.
That's awesome to hear. How is that drip tape? How long has that drip tape been involved in your program?
Yeah, this is the 4th or 5th year with the drip tape in the competition. So we've got some pretty good data on it. We've seen quite a bit of variability in terms of rainfall during the summer months the last several years. So some pretty wet years, and then, of course, pretty dry years as well.
Right. And the drip tape has to be 18 inches underneath the soil,
yeah,
right?
Ours is about 12 to 15 would be kind of a target. Yeah, it kind of depends on your soil type, but ours is in that 12 to 14, 15 inch depth.
And that you can get drip tape dependent on how far you are from the water table too, right?
Yeah, so The drip tape is kind of dependent upon, what soil type you have. If you have a sandy soil, you're better to put it a little bit closer together, put your emitters a little closer together. And on silty or clay soils, we can get by with putting the tape a little bit wider, and then also emitters a little bit wider. Also depends on your flow rate, how many gallons per minute you're able to pump. And it'd be designed for your field, of course, the area and then the slope and soil types that you do have.
Yeah, very interesting to know, because central pivot has just been a huge thing for so long that knowing a little bit more about this drip tape from you, that was very interesting to hear. So that's really awesome.
Yeah, so drip tape, I think, is another option. It may not be like an option right now for a whole field just because of the cost compared to a pivot. But if we do get into an area where we're really ratcheted down on allocations, or maybe we have a low capacity well, might sure be more profitable that way, I guess, because water would be more expensive. Or maybe if you're pumping from a pretty good depth, like 300 foot or something, your pumping cost is a lot higher. That's when the drip tape really shines.
Yeah, what is your favorite benefit about having drip tape?
Yeah, the drip tape to me is you pretty much reduce evaporation because you're applying the water below the soil surface. So you kind of wipe that out completely. Numbers, people have been throwing around 20 to 30% water savings by using drip tape compared to a sprinkler irrigation system.
Wow, that's really... And you're at the research center, so you would know. So,
Yeah. Pretty good data. And of course, a lot of data or research was done down in Colby, Kansas. Freddie Lamb down there has had drip tape for years. He's no longer with us, but he's left behind a lot of research down there. So if you're interested in, he's got a really good website. I encourage you to go check that out at K-State Extension Colby Research Center.
Wow. Okay, cool. I'll go check that out for sure. And then, so when it comes to seed choosing, water, fertilizer, you work with a whole bunch of individuals to make certain things happen, right?
Yeah, so in terms of our TAPS competition, it's a farm management competition. So the producers, they get to select what hybrid to plant, what seeding rate, when to put nitrogen on, when to irrigate, how much. So we were able to do all those decisions in the field. And we provide a lot of information, seed guides that the hybrid companies provide. In terms of irrigation management, we provide everybody with a soil moisture sensor in one of their plots, as well as a weather station right at the edge of the field. And for irrigation management, I think we need to be looking at both of those pieces of information. A good soil probe out in the field, and then good weather data, ET, water consumption, evapotranspiration for the field for your location. So having those two pieces of information really allows me to kind of target that irrigation. When do I need to start irrigating? I can look ahead at the forecast and see if there's a good chance of rain or not. Having that soil probe there tells me, how much water I can use before the crop might start being stressed. And that weather station tells me how much we've been using and kind of gives us an indication of what we can expect the next several days too. So using all that information, you can make some really good, well-informed decisions on irrigation management.
Yeah, especially when you have all those tools, and the weather station is so important. That's a hot topic at coffee every day, and it varies so much from, just one area to the next. Like I know with this weather system we just had, some people missed out and some people, really got hit with a lot of rain. So.
Yeah, I was in Broken Bow yesterday to pick up some stuff and just about floated away. I heard they had 5 or 6 inches up there. We probably had 30 or 40 hundredths at the research center here in North Platte.
They should have told you to pack your boat.
That's all right. I could have used it.
And then, so you talked about this advancement and the benefits of technology and with the research and the data you get at the research center when it comes to drip tape and other water advancements. What are some things that have just really blown your mind when you have come to the data aspect and the seeing all the stuff laid out and you're like, wow.
Yeah, the soil moisture sensors, and I've been working with sensors for probably 20 years now, but the new capacitance probes that they have available at the different depths, you can have 5, 6, 7 different points where they record soil water down through the profile. And like the 36-inch probes, maybe even a 48 if you're in an allocated area, because we want to make use of that last foot of water down there. But just having those tools to look at what the soil water content is doing at different layers in the field, you can really tell, where the roots are active. You can tell if we're pulling water from maybe too much water from a lower depth early in the season. Maybe we don't want to pull that much early. But it also allows us to see how we're drying out the profile. So if we catch a rain or like an irrigation event of an inch or so, make sure we got room in the profile to store that. Because water is not very forgiving. If we apply too much and the profile can't hold it, it just keeps moving down and it moves out of the root zone. And of course, it can take nitrogen with it if there's free nitrogen available in the soil. It'll pick that nitrogen up and take it down to the groundwater. And we are seeing some high nitrates, especially in the eastern end of the state. But that's been kind of creeping west here the last 5 or so years.
Yeah. I was just out east yesterday, and they were harvesting, and there's a lot of field out there. A lot of field. Here we have the prairie and the field. Do you feel like sometimes that helps slow it down a little bit?
I think that's a big benefit for us, is having quite a bit of grassland in the area. Because when you get the excess rain, a lot of that will soak in because of the plant material there, the grass able to hold it in place until it can soak in. So that benefits our groundwater because that's recharged to the groundwater, and then we can pump additional water out on smaller acres with the crop fields. The other thing that does is it allows kind of recharge that doesn't have nitrates in the water. So if you're starting to see some high nitrogen contents in groundwater, if we can cut back on the amount of nitrogen we're using and really limit any potential future leaching of nitrates to the groundwater, that can kind of help to reduce the concentration by providing low or no nitrate water going down in the aquifer to kind of mix with what we've already got there.
Yeah, that makes sense. And how many of these research centers exist in Nebraska?
Thered be 5 across the state, maybe 6, a smaller one if you include out at Sydney. So, yeah, they're kind of spaced strategically, within an area, but also in different growing regions. You get out to the Panhandle, that's a whole different ballgame out there because they get very little rainfall. Eastern end of the state, they get plenty of rain most of the time, so irrigation is not as important there, but cropping systems, tillage practices, and disease and insect management tends to be a bigger problem in the eastern end of the state. So it allows us to really kind of target issues that are in the area and help us address those, help producers understand how to address those issues as they come up.
Yeah, that makes sense. And this one covers, I see, Lincoln County, Stapleton area. What counties are you covering? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm in Lincoln.
Out of my counties right now. I see Lincoln. I've lived here my whole life, and I'm blanking out.
Yeah, I cover Lincoln, Logan, McPherson, Keith, Arthur, and then several counties up in the Sandhills. Don't have a lot of cropping systems up there. So,
right. But Sandhills are beautiful.
They are, and with good rainfall, it's really had a lot of grass this last year.
Yeah, we saw that. We went up to the U.S. Forestry Service on Wednesday and had noticed that a lot of the flatter areas had really produced some great bales of hay, and so that's really nice to see that they got a good crop this year of hay.
Yeah, I think last year most people really reduced, their inventory down because we didn't get much hay last year, and then kind of a tough winter for us. So, it's nice to see them get some hay reserves built back up and have some hay in the hay yard again. Yeah.
So, when are you guys doing your next award ceremony?
Yeah, so it'll be January 13th in Kearney at the UNL Center. That'll be our TAPS banquet. We'll have a prime rib dinner again and an open free bar. Invite everybody to come out and see the awards. We'll also have our report available then. We'll have printed copies so you can take that home. And when the snow's blowing this winter, you can sit down and read through what producers did in the TAPS competition this last year and see how things kind of played out.
Yeah, I know. My dad always loves to have that as a bragging right. He's got a few awards there in his office.
Yeah, Lauren's done very well in terms of high yield in our subsurface grip competition. So, yeah, he's consistently in the top 1 or 2 every year.
Oh yeah, he nerds out on that stuff. He wants to win. He's got to
That's
tell all
right.
of his friends.
I think most farmers and I think just people in general are pretty competitive, and that's kind of the neat thing about the TAPS competition. You don't really know how good of a producer you are until you compete against somebody else on the same field, and that's where your strengths and weaknesses really come out pretty quickly. So the producers find out, what they're good at and maybe what they're not so good at. And then of course, the university can provide information and research to help them improve their management strategies in those areas that need work, as well as talking to other farmers that are in the TAPS competition to see how they've done things, more profitably or more efficiently.
Yeah, and you do have teams that come on to this program as well, which I found really awesome to see that many people, because farming is a production, so might as well bring your friends along.
That's right. Yeah, the Perkins County is probably our most famous team. They've had about 10 individuals that they meet with on a weekly basis throughout the growing season, and that's how they make their decisions. Is it time to sow some grain, or what hybrid are we going to plant, or do we need to put some irrigation water on? And Ted Tejan has kind of led those teams the last 7 years, and he told me that he's learned more from just sitting down with his neighbors talking about making decisions on a TAPS field than about any other thing he's ever done. So really a lot of benefit. And again, just sitting down with your neighbors, talking about how you make decisions. And when you do it on a field that you're both you're all kind of managing together, then you don't have to really talk about the home 80 or the back 40 or whatever, how you're managing that. But it's really important to talk to other producers, learn from them, and understand why and how they make the decisions they do.
Yeah, I interviewed Ted, and yes, he is a wealth of knowledge, and he loves to talk, and we could talk for hours and hours, so I can only imagine what those conversations he has with everybody in Perkins County is like. Those are probably 2 pot of coffee conversations.
Yeah, I would think so.
Ted's so good. And so anyway, and then there's one other thing you do besides being in extension education at the research center. You also do chemigation education at the research center.
Yeah, I do. We do chemigation training. Was actually just looking through the script. We're going to try to get our videos updated, probably not for the 2024 season, but for 2025. Just so kind of revamping that program. Some things have changed in terms of irrigation. Pretty much everybody's got a sprinkler chart, or they should have a sprinkler chart for every pivot they have. So especially the calibration video, that was like 30 minutes long and really kind of boring.
I watched it. I lived through it. Yeah. Benji and I lived through it. We're good.
That's right. So, but yeah, a lot of that information, the calculations we go through is already on a sprinkler chart. So that's what we're kind of focusing or changing our focus to, using the information on a sprinkler chart. Now, what's the next step in terms of chemigation? So it really should shorten up that calibration video and even using some of the tools we have. I know there's technology now. You can control your speed and things on your pivot based on, on your computer or your phone. So just trying to update with where we're at with technology now and make it more targeted to spend the time where you need to focus instead of doing all these calculations that are probably already done for you on your sprinkler chart.
Yeah, those calculations are rough, but I mean, managed through it. You were a good teacher on that part, but I think I had some sweat on my forehead.
Yeah, I know. And I enjoy math. And so, it's not a big deal for me, but not everybody enjoys math, and I understand that. So, we'll see if we can make some changes, make it a little more bearable here in the future.
Yeah, see, if I was farmer, I would need you on my team, on my production of farming team to help me out with my math.
There you go. I'm good with math. I'm not so good with some other things. So
see,
that's why having a good team is important.
Yeah, for sure. And then anything else you want to let us know about or you want to talk about before we let you go?
Yeah, just check out our website, taps.unl.edu. We've got all of our previous reports on there. We actually did an end of season survey this last winter with TAPS, and like 75% of our participants have tried some technology on their farming operation at home. So, they kind of practice with it or play with it in the TAPS competition. 75% of them are are trying that at home on their operation, which is really exciting to see. The other thing that they told us is the report that we put out is the Bible. And we have people that have never been to a TAPS field day or event or anything, but yet they'll download the TAPS report and read it and learn from it. So a lot of information there, a lot of opportunities for people to take a look at that. And yeah, all those reports are available online. You can pull up a PDF and read it on your computer. And like I say, and hopefully the snow doesn't blow for another month or two yet, but when it does, you'd have something to take a look at and sort through it. Maybe help you increase efficiency and profitability on your farming operation.
Yeah, I have read through those too, and they are very fascinating. All the different charts, all the different types of varieties of corn, and what people used and how they used it. And the data is really, like you said, really awesome to see.
Yeah, and to me, the interesting thing is no 2 years are the same. I've actually worked on a paper looking at the optimal rate of nitrogen. It has varied by 100 pounds for this particular field.
Wow.
Same field, same crop rotation, everything. 1 year, the optimal rate might be 125 pounds of nitrogen. Another year, it might be 225 pounds of nitrogen. So without much variability from year to year, that just tells me we need to be doing a much better job in terms of nitrogen management. We can't just go out and apply 180 pounds of nitrogen and think we're going to be good. Some years we're way over applying, some years maybe not enough. So that's where I think we need to use tools and sensors and imagery to help us to kind of fine tune our nitrogen management. Because I think we have a huge improvement we can make in terms of how much nitrogen we're applying, not only to save some money, but help protect the environment as well.
Right. And that not only goes for farmers, right, but people that have lawns in the cities too.
Exactly. Yeah. Anybody that uses, plants are green when you put nitrogen on them. So it's people with lawns and gardens and golf courses and everybody. We're all in this together. We all need to do a better job of nitrogen management. Of course, irrigation management's tied to that as well. But need to do a better job and see if we can make some improvements.
Perfect. Well, it was so great to talk to you today, Chuck. Thanks for taking some time out for us, and we hope to talk to you again soon.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, Heather.
Yeah. All right. What an enlightening interview there with Chuck. It's really great. So we are Nebraska on Tap. They are the TAPS program. Did we copy them? No. It's just, when you tap the aquifer, water comes up. So we decided to do Nebraska on Tap for us. So it's been a great, beautiful day, and I hope everybody has enjoyed it. Again, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, visual representation there on YouTube. You can also go to NebraskaOnTap.com if you want to find our newest episode. That will take you to our YouTube link. And until then, we will talk to you guys later, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. Have a good one.